Hello, my name is Melissa Buffalo. I'm a member of the Meskwaki tribe and a descendant of the Crow Creek and Lower Sioux tribes. I joined CRCA about a year ago, so it's my second summit, so I'm super excited. And this is our CRCA Tribal Partner panel, and I'm going to let our tribal partners introduce themselves. We have Oglala Sioux Tribe, Fond du Lac, Band of Ojibwe, Turtle Mountain, Sisseton, and Rosebud Sioux Tribe. And before we get started, because I'm kind of in charge of social media and live tweeting, I want to get a picture of everybody, and so I want to make sure everybody's listening and alert because our food was amazing, and I'm sure we're all full. So thank you to our chefs and catering, CEO and Kaden. So everybody smile. So again, we just want to know from our tribal partners kind of the impact in being a partner with CRCA and kind of the impact that they've had in the communities and working with all of our corps and divisions. So I will start on this, and if we want to do introductions, and just give us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Simone Bordeaux. I am enrolled member of the Rosewood Sioux Tribe. I graduated high school and college from Sinte University at my hometown in Rosebud. Previously to my work with CRCA, I worked for Dr. Daniel Peterite, the founder of the Walking Forward program, which is the Cancer Disparities Research program for 5 years. I came on board with CRCA December 2015 as the research coordinator, and it's currently my position now.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Evelyn Espinoza. I'm the health director for the Rosewood Sioux Tribe. I am a registered nurse by background, and I've been in my current role for about 2.5 years. Prior to working for the tribe, I worked for the Indian Health Service as a registered nurse for about 10 years. I am a devoted mother of 6, very proud of all 6 of them, and really love this partnership and learning this side of health. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I just saw somebody I knew. My name is Heather Larson. I am the research specialist for our tribal research office with the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate. I'm also an enrolled tribal member there. I started working in this position, I think August of 2015. And I was very pregnant. I was 9 months pregnant when I started. So when I got to meet the CRCA team, I was humongous, and they probably all remember that. But what else? Okay.
A little bit about yourself.
My name is Cherie Johnson. I am Sisseton, and I'm actually the education director in an education major in the field of all these researchers and medical people, so in the health fields. But when our tribe departmentalized, they actually put the research office under the education department, and it's been a very positive working relationship since then. And so education and research walk hand in hand. Glad to be here.
So we're going to say a lot of testing because we all have mics. Hello? It's working.
Bonjour, my name is Patti Dufault, and I am the new research specialist for Fond du Lac Human Services Division. My background is business. Prior to getting into this position, I was the manager for Cobell for Fond du Lac, and now I'm here, so I look forward to talking more.
Good afternoon. My name is Rhonda Gustafson. I'm an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa. I'm here today representing for Anita Frederick. Anita Frederick is the president of Tribal Nations Research Group, but at the last minute was unable to travel, and so I'm here today in her place. I am new with Tribal Nations Research Group. I've just joined them in September. We're a team of 3. Prior to that, I worked at Turtle Mountain Community College for 25 plus years, and as an educator, basically. And I said, so bear with me today. I've been with the group for a short time, and but Anita gave me some good notes, and hopefully I can do a good job for her.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Kathryn, Blindman. Everybody knows me by Katie. Prior to working for CRCAIH, I'm in business as well. I worked for 13 years at Red Cloud Indian School in the business office, and I had the opportunity to actually attend CRCAIH's first summit in 2000, 12, 13? And then I stepped away for a little bit, but I was brought the opportunity again to be a part of CRCAIH, and I have been since.
Good afternoon. My name is Dolores Pullman. I'm an enrolled member of the Oglala Sioux tribe. For some of you that may know me, I also go by George. So if you hear that, that's who they're referring to. I am the health administrator for the Oglala Sioux tribe and had started at the position in August of 2015. Katie, we did have a couple of individuals employed with the CRCAIH program, and we are down to our sole survivor who is been doing an excellent job in there. And I guess we will continue on with the panel discussion.
So again, as you know, just a little background, all of our tribal partners have started at different times throughout the last 5 years, and our goal is to help them build research infrastructure, and the purpose is really, again, to show you that they've all done that, but in different capacity, in different unique ways. So so the first question we thought we would ask them and kind of have a discussion, and then we'll have time for questions at the end, is how has becoming a partner with CRCAIH impacted your research initiatives? So we will start on this end and kind of work our way down. So Simone and Evie.
Hello. So the Rosebud Sioux tribe receives many research requests from different colleges, universities, various hospitals, healthcare organizations, and nonprofit organizations. And historically, and to date, the Rosebud Sioux tribe has not had a research review board or an ordinance in place that allowed us to have oversight and ownership of the research that was being done in our communities. Right now, our interim process authorizes our tribal health board members to review and approve or deny any research requests that we get. And when partnering with CRCAIH, our tribal leaders realize the opportunity at hand to establish a formal research review mechanism. So our tribe, the Rosebud Sioux tribe, is in year 2 of becoming a CRCAIH partner. I came on board as the research coordinator last December 2015. And since then, we feel like we have taken crucial steps towards accomplishing our shared goals with our CRCAIH partners in expanding our research infrastructure. And some of these steps include, I think one of the most important ones is the linkages that our CRCAIH partners have been able to make with us, not only with our tribal partners that you see here, but with other experts, both regionally and nationally. And we felt like it was very important to learn what our neighboring tribes in the region were doing as far as review and their processes, to share strengths and weaknesses and experiences to try to achieve some type of unification, because we are a lot similar as we are unique. The second thing would be cataloging and documenting all our past and current data, and that is to get a better understanding of kind of where we've been and where we're at right now. Within that year, we've drafted and developed a research code, and that is in the process of getting the appropriate comments so it can go on to our full tribal council for approval and review. The beginning, last spring, I would say we were awarded the administrative supplement grant with CRCAIH, which is titled The Expansion of CRCAIH Research Education to Tribal Nations. And I think this was really important and came at a critical time before our draft research review went on to our tribal council. We felt like it was really important to be able to do some methods to try to understand kind of where we're at as far as being research ready. So with that administrative supplement grant, we had access to NCAI Policy Research Center experts. They came out in the fall of 2017 and did a training with some of our tribal leaderships and key stakeholders titled Research That Benefits Tribal Communities. We were able to identify key tribal leaders and stakeholders and conduct interviews with them. And those are being in the final stages of being transcribed. And then we were also able to complete a community profile to engage and educate all of our partners and tribal leaders and stakeholders in our community. Another thing that we thought was really important was the linkage and being able to attend the Primer membership, and we're able to attend the 2016 Advancing Ethical Research Conference. And then another huge step was being able to get some information and purchase the Mentor IRB software. We were able to complete the orientation and training for that system and be able to have dialogue with people who have a lot of experience with that system. They were able to share a lot of their strengths and weaknesses. The last thing I kind of want to mention is the expansion of our internship program. Last year, we were able to be a host organization for a SHORE student intern. SHORE is summer undergraduate research experience, where a college student has 10 weeks and is able to come to a health administration and work with us and try to develop a research project and conduct it in our communities. So currently, our research code is in its first step for review for comment by the 3 committees that is required to go through, which is our Tribal Governmental Affairs Committee, our Judiciary Committee, and our Tribal Health Board. So the second step from there, once we get those comments, it will go on to full tribal council for review, and then the final step will be getting any public comment, and then it will be entered into our law and order code, and from there we will be able to establish our research review board and get that up and running. So overall, I think the expert support and the linkages that we were able to get from our CRCAIH partners and our tribal partners is a really crucial step in increasing the knowledge that our tribal leadership has. Thank you. And
Heather and Evie, or Cherie?
Okay. I'm going to start this first section on this. Heather really is our research specialist, and she will explain that part of it real thoroughly. I'll just put her on the spot right away. But our tribe departmentalized and actually formed the departments, and they formed the Tribal Education Department and hired me about 4 years ago. And within a month of that happening, the chairman says, "Oh, Cherie, I think you can write us some research codes. We need some research codes." And you could get that done, can't you? And so there I was, trying to figure all that out in addition to my other duties. And within the next couple months, I was struggling. I was pulling codes from everywhere, just trying to figure out, what am I doing here? And then the opportunity for the CRCAIH grant came open. And, as soon as I heard about them, I gave them a call, and they came to Sisseton and visited with us. It's really instrumental because all the time I was saying, you need to help me with this, and I need this, and I need this, and I really need you guys now. And if I don't get this grant, can you still help me? And so, that little did I know that was phase 1 of the grant review process, and apparently I passed it because we're now a project for them. And I really appreciated all that help and the support and the empowerment that they provided our office. And I'll just let Heather.
If you want, if that helps you.
that works best.
So first I thought I would do a quick little timeline just to give a little bit of history on our research office, because we all kind of have the same goals, but we have different ways of tackling them as different tribes. So first, before we had a tribal IRB, all of the research protocols in our community were approved, reviewed and approved by our tribal council and our human services board. And then we had a previous tribal council had made a motion to establish an IRB, and that was when they kind of delegated everything to Dr. Johnson in the education department to get the ball rolling. And in June of 2014 is when the CRCAIH partnership was established. And after that, our tribal research office started. In September of 2014, our local research review board, which is what we call our tribal IRB, that was established, and then they began granting permission to researchers to conduct projects on our reservation. And the next big, huge accomplishment was in July of 2015, so more than a year after our board was established. The Tribal Council passed a resolution accepting the research codes that were drafted, and there was many drafts to that, and it was a very long process, but it was a huge accomplishment for our tribe. And now I'm just going to speak a little bit about how CRCAIH, all the impacts that CRCAIH has had in our tribal community. And it does echo a lot of what Rosebud and Simone has talked about, so I'll try not to repeat what she has said. And I'm super organized, so I had to break it down by the regulation, or the corps and divisions of CRCAIH, because they all do very specific work, and we had just we have a ton of projects with each of the divisions and corps. So first, with the Regulatory Knowledge Corps, they have been in high demand ever since we got the grant. I call them weekly, if not more. They were really instrumental in getting all of those drafts of our research code written and making sure that we were kind of covering all the bases of what we wanted to as a tribe, to have that as tribal law. They had made the CRCAIH IRB toolkit, which was really huge. I still use it. I still reference it all the time. It was nice to not reinvent the wheel and try to make new priority forms, such as our application and things like that. I could go off of their templates that they had already made, and it was just really useful, and I still reference that all the time, and I'm constantly referring people to it. Another one is helping with our policies, writing the policies and procedures manual, which we are still updating, and it's still ongoing. Just making sure those are, that we're in compliance with the federal regulations, because we do plan on registering our LRB and then pursuing the federal-wide assurances. Another thing was the revisions to the common rule. When those came up, they let us know, which we did not know because we were so early and out of the loop, so they kept us in there, and Dr. Johnson was able to get our tribal council to pass a couple of resolutions about that and get our tribe's feedback up to the federal level. So that was very important. So just to kind of close with the RKC, everything that they helped us, it made everything smoother and faster. We were able to accomplish a lot, and even now, it's my second year there, but I constantly need their help and their expertise. A little bit about the methodology core with CRCAIH. They've helped us address questions, all the questions we have about data sharing and data storage. Like Simone talked about, cataloging our previous research projects and the current ones, and kind of looking forward to the future on what is it that where are those gaps. They've also provided some training to all of our tribal members, all of our tribal employees actually, some on-site trainings, and they provided our staff with training on their data management toolkit, which is also another toolkit that's really important. And now we're currently working on creating a data management plan for our tribe, so we're working with the methodology core on that. We also had the opportunity with the NCAI Policy Research Center to have the training, which was through the partnership with CRCA. And so they came to our reservation at the end of February and provided that free training for our tribal leadership and our research stakeholders along with our board members. And it was a great opportunity for us. And then the other core that we work with a lot is the Community Engagement and Innovation Division with CRCA. They are also in high demand. I call them every other week, if not more. They actually participate on our Tribal Health Plan Development Work Group. They come up and attend those meetings and provide their expertise and help us with that as well. They coordinate quarterly tribal partner calls, so all of us can network and be able to help each other out in whatever way we need. They had a tribal partner retreat because some of us wanted a little bit more time to spend together because our reservations are all so far apart, and it was great to see these people in person and be able to hang out and share a meal and share ideas. Another thing is that we are all working on writing a manuscript together with the help of SEED with this core, and so hopefully we'll be able to get something published together on all the work that we have done and the lessons learned from working with CRCA. Also with SEED, they are huge, obviously, with the community engagement, so they're constantly helping me with updating our website. We just worked on updating our mission statement, which sounds very simple, but it was a huge process. Getting some PSAs done for our tribal radio station, our articles in our tribal newspaper, those types of things. So we're a really new office in our tribal community, and so trying to keep the word out there all the time and saying this is what we are, this is what we do. This is why the research office is really important in providing the research oversight for all these projects and explaining to our tribal members that we own the rights to the data, we can use it when these projects are done and that type of thing. So it's important work that we're doing with SEED. I could go on and on about all the impacts, but I am getting cut off.
Well, it came by me again, so I'm going to say something, and I really want to say this because they really empowered our tribe, and they gave us the confidence and the skills and the resources now that we can really do our own research and figure out who and how we can train our future researchers. Okay, I'm really done.
No, you're fine. Patti?
So when I started my position in October of 2016, at Fond du Lac Human Services Division, we also call the building Minawayawin. That's what I call the clinic anyway. So when I first started, as you know, I'm new. I had to learn the policies and procedures and all about the research projects that were going on prior to me starting. So I spent a lot of time reading and catching up on research since before, I arrived. Of course, my supervisor briefed me on the research projects and everything, but CRCA staff has contributed to my learning by providing me a lot of knowledge through videos, conference calls, emails a lot, and the tribal partner calls that they do on a quarterly basis. They've been very involved with me since I joined Fond du Lac Human Services Division last October, and I feel like they have helped me learn more about my position and what I have to do. So they actually helped Fond du Lac Human Services grow their research infrastructure by providing an avenue to assist with research development, research management, and research sustainability. So they have assisted with initiating research partnerships with external stakeholders such as Mayo Clinic. So our research department has, prior to CRCA, they had no research database. So now we have one, and it's Axiom Mentor. So now we're able to manage our research and use it to communicate with our IRB members. So it makes it more efficient and quicker. So that has been critical to the research that has been conducted in Fond du Lac. also after all my reading and meetings and reviewing files, because I feel like I'm in college again, just my brain is jam-packed with research. So when I started working at Fond du Lac Human Services Division, they had a community needs assessment that they did every 2 years since 1978. So that was my first task when I started working at the Human Services Division. And in addition to the content that was already available to me, the corps and divisions assisted me with question development, the structure of the needs assessment overall, multiple times. I mean, I've sent tons of, versions over to CRCAIH team, and they have reviewed and sent it back to me, so I'm very thankful for that. So over the years, our needs assessment remained the same for every single person who was doing the needs assessment. But this year, it's changed. So during the editing stage, we decided to base the needs assessment on eligibility criteria versus giving everybody the same questions. The reason why is because we decided that we don't want to ask people questions that don't apply to them. So basically, it's a lot of work, and we plan to release it this June sometime. So going on from there, my previous positions, I was very involved in the Fond du Lac community, from handing out wild rice to community members, to notarizing documents for community members. So I have a strong connection to the Fond du Lac community. So this position is a hard adjustment, being in an office setting all day. I like interaction with people. It's kind of hard for me to be in an office and learning, reading, and looking at a computer screen all day. But I'm adjusting. So I had the opportunity to introduce myself to the Fond du Lac community through my previous work positions, community events, local newspapers, local radio stations, and it also helps that I'm from Fond du Lac. So I was also appointed to the Fond du Lac IRB, which is also new to me, so yesterday's training was very helpful because now I am tasked with updating our IRB policies and procedures, so that was very helpful to go to that training yesterday. So the corps and divisions help me understand how IRBs work, just in general, in meetings, emails. They provided a lot of training resources. The IRB Tribal Toolkit has helped a lot in my understanding of IRBs. So I had no exposure to IRBs prior to this position. So now I feel a little bit more confident in understanding what they actually do and how important and critical they are to research. And I just recently got approved to bring the National Congress of American Indian workshop training to Fond du Lac. So they have been trying to get that training at Fond du Lac for several years. So I really advocated to get that there, and I'm very excited to get the National Congress of American Indian workshop training at Fond du Lac. So, yeah.
Rhonda?
I can relate to that. Going from 500 people a day at students and down to 3 of us at Tribal Nations, yeah, it was a huge adjustment. I talk all the time in the office, and when there's people not there, just because I'm used to doing that. So I know what you mean. This afternoon, Anita sent 4 highlights of the impact and how instrumental CRCAIH has been to the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians. I would say, of course, their hugest initiative has been the formation of the Tribal Nations Research Group. We're small yet, there's only 3 of us, but they were able to establish 501(c) status, so we function and work with the tribe, but we're not actually a tribal entity, we're a separate organization, and the little time I've been with the organization, I think that's very effective to be a separate unit, but still, under the functions and working with them. 2013, I believe, is when they were formally established as an organization. And it's just the little time I've been, it's just huge, the impact that this has had on our reservation. Being an educator for 25 years at the college, taught some database courses and taught some records management type courses and those things, and up until with just that, there was really no mention of research. There was some, research was going on. There was research being done, but the community awareness of it and the organization of it and the regulation of it didn't exist. And so they've made some great strides in 3 years. I'm excited to be part of the organization now. Anita and I worked together for about 20 years, and same thing with Ashley, who works in our department. They do wonderful work. And so it was like kind of going home. It was, the learning curve was small and getting to work together. So we worked together real well. With the Tribal Nations Research Group, again, they were able to establish an RRB board. CRCA was instrumental in them creating the forms for that, helping them select board members, helping set the policy for that in the tribe. And so I would say in the last 3 years, that's been the hugest part of the work. From there, they have implemented a tribal code, policies and procedures, and then now recently purchased the software to start building a database. Another initiative that was able to happen in the last 3 years is that they've been able to go out and gather the research that's been done in the past and look for it and locate it and starting to centralize it. And that is one of the major goals, is to centralize the data in this Tribal Nations Research Center. And that way we can organize it, make it accessible, make sure it's quality data and that kind of things with that. So that is happening now. The software has been purchased, the equipment's being set up, and so that shouldn't be too long down the road where we start organizing all the database and putting this information that we already have in there. The other thing is the community, to make the community aware of research. We had a conference last week for 2 days, Data Matters, and I got to pat myself on the back, and all three of us, I think we pulled it off pretty good. But as I observed, and I was kind of in charge of the exhibitor area of it, and making sure that went well, and everybody that we approached was, what do you guys do over there? What does Tribal Nations do? And you kind of look at research explain, and you kind of get this blank look over everybody's face. And so we had 17 exhibitors set up, and we were in the same room as the speakers in the conference, and we took that daring challenge, and it worked well. But it was nice to watch for 2 days. The exhibitors take away so much more from the speakers, I think, than we expected. And they left there knowing something about research and seeing how the research in our community is being conducted. And it was very basic what, a lot of community members took away, but it was a start. And I was excited to kind of see that. I'd like to see us go from conference to workshop now, maybe, and start doing that kind of work. And then the fourth thing, of course, was the partnerships that we've been able to develop in the 3 years have been tremendous. With CRCA, the people that they've been allowed us to be introduced to has been just fantastic. In the community, we've built some community partnerships, and so that has really been also instrumental. But like I said, just the short time I've been there, and those are just 4 real quick highlights of what we've been able to do on our home reservation as a result of CRCA.
Thank you. Katie and Dolores.
You want to go?
Together? As Katie mentioned yesterday, for those of you who were in attendance, the Oglala Sioux tribe began the Research Review Board in September of 2006. And in 2007, an ordinance was passed by full tribal council to have that established and recognized. So since then, the board has been in place. There are a number of board members that range from anywhere from 5 to 13 members, depending on how long they can commit and their schedule as well too. There's a process because of what CRCA has helped us with. There was a process implemented to be as a member of the board. And maybe that's the second question. So always have to look back. We have done tremendous work on the past research that was done by cataloging all of that. So all of the past research that was done on the reservation is now in catalog format with Katie's commitment to making sure that that was done and accessible. And with that, we were able to open the lines of communication with the tribal council members, because as you all know, tribal council is elected every either 2 or 4 years, depending on the reservation that you come from. So the lines of communication have increased tremendously. Community members that do have questions, if they're unable to reach us for whatever means, they do contact the council members, and they're able to provide them with some basic, at least, information on what the Research Review Board is and any researchers that are coming onto the reservation. You want to add?
Yeah. I was just thinking back, and after CRCA became a CRC partner, we worked very closely with regulatory, Tamana and Jyoti. They helped us to develop a lot of our forms and to kind of update our policies and procedures, keeping us updated with new regulations and things like that. With their help, we were able to implement Axiom Mentor to its full capacity. I'm not sure if the other tribes do that yet, but I've gotten to know the system pretty well, and it's an awesome system. And in 2015, with the help of SEED, our research coordinator, which was Liz Belt, was able to host the only community research conference on the Pine Ridge Reservation, trying to inform the communities, educators, tribal council, any healthcare organizations about research and what our Research Review Board does. And that's it.
I think to just add on to what Katie was talking about with the conference that was held in 2015, there was over 70 attendees in at that workshop. Representation was from a variety of community members, some healthcare organizations, the academic institutions like the College Center, some of the local schools, high schools and stuff, and the tribal leaders themselves were in attendance. So there was about 85% was tribal members, and the other 15% was, of course, non-natives, but it was a real positive thing for the tribe and for others to follow. So again, we want to thank CRCA for giving us that opportunity.
Awesome. So that kind of was the first half, like 3/4 of our presentation. And the second half, we just wanted to know kind of, Dr. Elliott talked about this morning sustainability and how hard that is, and it's always a challenge, but kind of our second question has to do with that. So we kind of want to know, with all the work that's been accomplished with our tribal partners in the last few years and where they're all at different steps, kind of what are their next steps, and how do they want to move forward, and what are some big action items they want to accomplish in the next year and a half. So I think we'll just start on this end and make our way back.
Great.
Then you'll be done.
With the work that was accomplished through the office the last few years, we were, like I mentioned earlier, able to increase the communication with the tribal council and the communities through the Axiom Mentor. Again, that is a software that was initiated, and we found it very useful to with the agendas and with the researchers that are coming in. They're able to access that with the technology has really been positive for us because, as we all know, in a native country, we're kind of isolated and, remote. Although we love it, it's been a real asset to us. We have also been working on establishing a website, a web page, but that is more time consuming. It was quicker to establish a Facebook page. So we do have a Facebook page through the Health Administration, and under the Health Administration page, we have the CRCAIH, what they're about, and the other grants that we also supervise in there, or that we oversee in that. So that's one of the ways that we reach out to people on what has been accomplished and stuff over the last few years. What am I missing? We've also have developed a brochure for members to see. We distribute that throughout the reservation, at stores and at the college centers and at the tribal office and stuff. And that tells a little bit about what the Research Review Board is about. We do advertising for our board members to recruit board members who are really interested in having an impact, a positive impact on the reservation. We have a weekly radio show with the local radio station with CRCAIH. Some of the programs have a weekly radio show, and they normally invite us to attend, so we're able to get that information out through that way, through the different programs. Also, we utilize the executive director's office. He has a listserv, so we're able to use them to send out emails to all of the tribal program directors, letting them know what the criteria is and stuff if we have a board member. A board, if they're interested in being on the review board. So it's, again, I have to refer to or thank the technology and just the community working together in the tribal programs with Katie's persistence in getting the information out and communicating very well with the review board. It's been a really, really valuable asset, and we always look forward to getting more people to be sitting on our board, because the more people that are on our board, the more people that will be able to assist with researches and the things that are being researched on the reservation, and those collecting the data so we can have that as a tool later on for purposes, because in the past there was not really a way to track the data that was done on the reservation, and this has been really, really helpful to help us to get there.
Rhonda?
Did I talk too much?
No.
Right now would be the implementation of online, being able people to access the data and the research that we have. That will, I see that being a big project for us coming up. Continuing to grow researchers in our community. We need to do that. We're running short of finding people that are, qualified to serve on the board, so we want to work towards that. Also, building trust in the community. It's real hard to go to tribal entities and organizations and say, hey, we're tribal nations, give us your data, we'll house it for you, and we'll centralize it, or give us. People don't do that very willingly, and so we're really working hard at building trust in the community, not only with the members, but our tribal council. We just had our entire tribal council, with the exception of one person, change, and so now we're re-educating our tribal council, and so that will be huge work in the future. And of course, sustainability, looking for ways to keep us functioning and operating will be what we need to do in the next year and a half, and so that we can stay there. And I think that's about it.
So over the past few years, the research team at Fond du Lac was way bigger. It's just me now. So we have completed a lot of projects, like the diabetic neuropathy study, an opioid study, and a couple needs assessments since our partnership began with CRCAIH. But the data received from the needs assessment is used to help direct human services in a way and is not the sole purpose for changes within the Human Services Division. For example, our community expressed interest in getting contact lenses, but we did not provide that service at our clinic. And through other avenues, like surveys through the pharmacy and front desk and stuff like that, other avenues of obtaining data. In addition to our community needs assessment, it helped validate that interest through our community and direct the decision to provide contact lenses to our community. So now we have contact lenses at Fond du Lac. That's just one outcome. So research at Fond du Lac has played an important role to improve programs and services within the community, and our plan at Fond du Lac is always to look for ways to improve the health and services provided to our patients. So we'll continue to look for ways to expand our research infrastructure with new projects and new funding opportunities. We are dedicated to elevating the health and social well-being of American Indian people through the provision of services, research, education, and employment opportunities. Our plan is to use the data from current and future research projects to improve and expand services to our community.
You can turn it off.
I just acknowledge real quick Francis and Andrea. Two of our RRB members came down for the conference for the 2 days. And just real quick also, I'd like to congratulate Melanie Nadu, who just recently earned her PhD from our home and will be walking in May. Congratulations, Melanie.
All right, it's hard to follow that up. But I do want to mention this is because one of our major accomplishments at Sisseton was that through the whole code process, we really did have a systemic change on the whole philosophy of research. When we first started working on research, drafting the codes, there was a humongous pushback from the community. We don't want this here. Nobody needs to study our people, and that people don't need to know. And so, holy cats, I got the 5-minute sign. Okay, gotta go. But I have to say, the systemic change of our community by the time we started the process to after we got the codes, there's a whole turnaround of that attitude.
So I'm just going to briefly mention some of our future goals. One would be to get additional staff, especially our own tribal researchers, so that we can conduct our own projects based on our needs. Finding consistent funding, like other people have mentioned, that's always a concern, or a goal, sorry. And developing our research priorities. Those are just a few of our future goals.
I'll just take the rest of the time. You don't need to give me the signs. I'll just keep talking. So I think for Rosebud, we're the newest to the group. We're the newest to the team, and that means both that we get to learn at a faster pace than the others that started from them and with them, but also we get to see where we can make it our own and make it mold to what the need is in our community. And I'll echo a little bit of what Cherie was saying a minute ago. Is for us, the main challenge when we bring this topic up initially is a bad word. Historically, for our people, research is a bad word. I mean, we still struggle with kind of pivoting this conversation even today with our leadership and especially within our communities. And I think for me, as the administrator of the health program on our reservation, the biggest strength that I gained with this partnership is the ability to pivot that conversation in a positive direction and help my leaders and my people understand how we can use this to our own benefit, and how that by learning the ins and outs of this process and what research is about and how to use it and how to manage it, that it's only going to help us in our journey towards self-determination and self-governance. The overall goal for my program is just that, is helping our tribe achieve that self-governance so we can take control of our own futures, our own programs, our own destiny. And quite frankly, we don't like to continue to rearrange our priorities and our agendas to meet other people's who have come and presented to councils or our reservation or leadership and say, you know, this is a good opportunity, this is what it can do for you. We want to be the people saying, we've studied our communities, we've done research, we have proof, this is the direction that we need to go. It's just going to streamline and maximize the efficiency of our efforts in our workforce. So I think for me, that's like the biggest strength that this partnership has brought me. So I really want to say Wopila Tanka for that, and is really, I've really grown professionally with this partnership. I think next steps going forward is figuring a way out how to sustain this. How do we continue to do this work and without this funding through this partnership? And I think that's a big question that we haven't been able to answer yet. But we are still in the process of doing a community needs assessment. We are Simone is the expert in my office. She's my go-to. I couldn't do this without her. I am very, very proud of her and thankful for her. But the summer, like she mentioned in her presentation last summer, we started our intern program. We were a horse organization, and now that's grown. This year we're going to be hosting an intern from Boston University in a partnership with the Great Plains Tribal Chairman's Health Board. They're going to come out and help us with some areas with regard to maternal child health and the PRAM study. We also are hosting, I warned you, no, just kidding. We are also hosting a Yale student who was awarded a fellowship and will be coming and helping us also in the maternal child health space over the next year. She'll be coming in the fall for a year. We hope to get some more college interns through the SURE program and continuing that going. So we're linking generations to this work as well. So our younger generations and our older generations in the community, we're educating them all on this topic so we can all go forward in a good way together. And I was just teasing you, I will stop. I know you'll turn my microphone off, but I really, it's really been a privilege and an honor to be a part of this group, and we have really learned a whole lot and are super grateful for this opportunity and continued collaboration. So thank you.
Simone, do you want to talk? I know we have we set aside 15 minutes for questions, but we talk about the impact that CRCA has had on them. Like, you got me a frog in my throat. We've learned so much from them as well, and like allowing CRCA to come into their communities and really wanting to make a change. So I applaud all of you, and I think you all would applaud them for the work that they're doing and really wanting to make a change in their community and really see research as a good thing. So with that, we'll have questions.
Thank you very much. This is delightful. I've been in the field 40 years, and the leap forward in the last 5 has been immeasurable. So I want to extend congratulations not only to CRCA, but to your respective communities for leading that charge. Let me take it back a moment. It was almost 20 years ago to the day when several of our largest tribes were really the initial innovators around IRBs and community review boards and the integration of those two. And of course, I'm talking about CRCAIH Nation of Oklahoma and the Navajo Nation Human Research Review Board. And they represented, and I had work that flowed through both of those, but they represented some really distinctly different models. And the biggest difference between them was that the CRCAIH Nation of Oklahoma at the highest levels of senior leadership resourced their IRB and Community Review Board. The Navajo Nation Human Research Review Board was not resourced by the tribe for at least 8 to 10 years. And it made a dramatic difference in terms of their ability to pursue the kinds of goals that you've articulated today. A very dramatic. And I've had the privilege of working at Oglala and at Rosebud. And one of the things that I've been struck is what the consequences are for authorities such as yourself in the absence of resources. So I've argued, for example, just as at my university, University of Colorado, we will do, and I'm not arguing that we do this, we will do reviews for other entities like hospitals and other organizations that don't have review boards, but we charge them. It's $1,200 for an initial review. The Western Institutional Review Board, a very big commercial enterprise, charges $1,600 per review. And the sponsoring agencies for that work, NIH among them, pay those fees. So while we have an institute director here at present, I'd like to ask you about how your respective programs are thinking about matters of fees and the variety of different ways in which these fees and surcharges and other kinds of things could be levied in ways that would support your enterprises. Because I know that we've been able to secure from NIH, from at least 3 different institutes, in our funded grant applications, upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 to pay those kinds of fees for the services that you render. So I'm sort of surprised I didn't hear that arise in the conversation this afternoon. But you know, while we have an institute director here, I want to make sure that we get that part of the conversation on the table.
At Oglala Sioux Tribe, we do have a sliding scale fee, and depending on the budget, the initial review fee is 3% of that. And we do charge an annual continuation fee as well.
And what percentage of the total cost of running your office do you think that covers?
I'm not sure.
We never really took a good look at that, but those are some great points that you brought out. And just to kind of piggyback on what Katie said, of the Native students that are not enrolled members of the Oglala Sioux Tribe are assessed a 1% fee. And non-natives in pursuit of education, our academic students, they are 2%. Fee. So there is one, implemented, and maybe we need to take a look at that. Like I said, this has been in existence for since 2006. Maybe it's something we need to review, or the IRB needs to maybe review it and see if that's still feasible, if it's something else that we need to look at. But thanks. Right. Thank you.
To add something, I'm standing because I can't see you, so that's awkward. So we're the Sisseton, Wahpeton, Oyate. We don't have the administrative fees yet, but it's something that is a part of our strategic plan for sustainability. I'm not sure how much money that would bring in. We don't have nearly as many protocols as Pine Ridge, but anything would be helpful. That is really up to our board. Some things that we will be considering is, if it's the initial submission or a continuation, if it would be a little bit lower, if it's one of our tribal college students or one of our tribal members that are a student somewhere, or if they're just a tribal member, a non-tribal member. Those, there's a lot of considerations there when looking at whether the fee would be waived or not and those types of things. So, but yes, it's something we're hoping to have by summertime. Thanks.
Any other questions? Yes.
Do we have a comment?
We have 10 minutes.
I'm not so sure I'm in a position to say anything about this topic. My gut reaction not too long ago being an investigator is that this was the kind of service that the institution provided. And so we never paid anything for IRB protocol reviews. Now, coming to a community, it's a different role, and I understand there are different expectations and guidelines for tribal nations. And so I just don't have the information to really to comment on that. I think if you put in 3% of $1 million grant, that would get a huge pushback, but I don't think that's what you meant. I was trying to think, well, what if it's a $15,000 grant? If you do 3%, what is that going to be as opposed to a fixed surcharge? If you do a fixed surcharge, obviously someone with a small pilot grant, it could be a significant part of their budget, and that you wouldn't want that either. So I think it's flexibility rather than. It is one of these unfunded mandates that people are expected to have, and yet no one is paying for it. The only place where I saw people being charged was in industry protocols. So anything that was NIH funded or foundation funded at UCSF never got charged by the IRB. But if you were doing a pharmaceutical industry protocol, there would always be a charge for that, for those kinds of services through the university. So that's about it.
Hi. I have 2 questions, and anyone on the panel can answer them. And the first one is, how do you determine or recruit your board members? And for us, in our community, we're looking for diversity, all different kinds of diversity, and I'm wondering if that's something that you address, or just if you go through how you select your board members, or do you capture them on the street and haul them in? Or, and the second thing I'd like to know is the average number of active studies that you have per year.
At Oglala Sioux Tribe, we have anywhere between 58 and 65 protocols active a year. As for board member recruitment, we do have a packet put together on the qualifications that they look for. And one of the requirements is that they be a tribal member. And they'll need to send a letter of intent, their resume, and basically present themselves to the current board members. And then the current board members will have their time to interview and get the background of this individual. Deb Tobacco is actually one of our board members. I think for our board, they do require at least a master's degree.
The first question on how we recruit or determine who's on our board, we do follow the regulations, although we don't necessarily have to, but we do. So having like the non-scientific member, and they're not all one gender, and all those types of things. So we do follow those. I actively recruit our members, so they're not like elected or appointed or anything like that. It's voluntary. If it's something that they're interested in enough, then I'll really recruit them. But the majority of our board members are tribally enrolled members. They're not all. I know some of the boards are different. They all do live on the reservation, and so we don't have people that are across the country that are tribal members. It's just for now. It's right there at home. A lot of it is their expertise area or areas, and I know they don't like the word expertise, but I really feel that they are experts in their fields, and so they like when I call it the areas of emphasis. But they have multiple areas, and it's difficult for our people to say, if I say that they're an expert on our culture or our language. People aren't comfortable with those types of titles, but a lot of them are. On our tribal history, specifically our American Indian history, our counseling and education. I mean, we have a lot of fields that are covered, a lot of education and a lot of work experience, and then just what I feel is the most valuable is all of that tribal and cultural knowledge that they have, and those are the things that we consider more than anything. Those regs, we just kind of, oh yeah, let's follow those, but that's what our focus is.
I'll just follow up a little bit more on that. There was a real pushback at the beginning when we first put our research review board together, because our districts, we have 7 political districts, geographical districts, and they all thought that they needed to have somebody on the board, but we really had to, I fought tooth and nail with that one because we really needed these expert people that really knew the fields and knew what they were talking about, and that are willing to, read protocols that when they print out, they're like a whole ream of paper, and you have to have that stakeholder and that buy-in. And so we still continue to hold on to a core member of group that has real expertise in certain areas where we're finding our protocols. We also have on board some partners, expertise areas. We have some medical doctors that can't always be there, or different people that can't always be there, but when we need their expertise, they're ready to jump on board.
My question is about how you feel. Okay. How you all feel about the National Institutes of Health move to a single IRB and how that relates to individual Native nations. And then also, is there any talk about formalizing or making consistent a network between yourselves to kind of police bad actors? There are not anybody in this room, but there are, certain researchers that will, if they can't get something from one tribe, they'll go to the next tribe and to the next tribe and to the next tribe. So in that way, kind of intertribal IRB would be protective, but it also, for a robustness of a study, it would make more statistically robust if you all knew about it at the same time, so you all can participate at the same time.
About the common rule one, we had a lot of pushback at the beginning with the common rule because we've had people that come on the reservation and say they're entitled. Oh, they can go and do that. So and so said I can go do that. I can speak to the elders. I can speak to the youth, and I can survey the youth. And so we did have a lot of problem with that. We finally got the research review board going, and now everybody has to go to it. And when we discussed the common rule, we really did do a lot of comments, and our tribal council was very invested in that because they still said no matter what happens with that common rule, if they want to interview or survey or research anybody on the Sisseton, Wahpeton lands, that they have to go through our research review board. So they were very adamant, our council was very adamant on that one. And so, I'm not sure what all the learning was yesterday on the common rule. I was trying to learn a little bit more in one of the other sessions there. That's all.
Thank you. I know we have a couple announcements from Jess Hansen, but round of applause. Thank you, everybody.